Welcome back to the second segment on nationalism and you. We are still on this morning on ITV, your darling stations and flagship program. We are here broadcasting live on Umpape Hill, this 5th day of May 2022. This morning we're going to be taking another look at zoning between ambitions and national interests. And with me to take a look at this topic this morning is our erudite comrade Haruna Brahimo. Comrade Haruna Brahimo is the Director of Media and Publicity of the Advocacy for Good Governance Network, Nigeria and West Africa. Comrade Haruna Brahimo, nationalism and you.
It's my utmost responsibility to contribute my quota to the upliftment and development of the Nigerian states.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
So much noise, so much threat about zoning. What's your take on this?
Before, I think most of the time, the issues are we don't tend to deconstruct narratives to get a genuine base or platform for us to look at issues. The question we should be asking ourselves, or where most of the interest should lie, is what led to zoning? What political climate have we found ourselves that brings about zoning? And that is what we suppose, that is, for me, my response will be based on that. We become the starting point by answering the issue that is bringing about zoning in the politics.
The agitation for zoning.
Exactly. Which is the nature of our democracy as a type of government. The other day I was out of this place and I was interviewed, the same question of zoning, and I made mention of why don't we really stray into what we are practicing as a country, as a type of government. The nature, its feature, its problems, advantages and disadvantages. Having this understanding will help us to really address why there is zoning, whether there should be zoning or there should not be zoning, which is the issue of multicultural democracy. Nigeria is an heterogeneous nation. We are not homogeneous. Ironically, democracy thrives very well in an homogeneous society, where almost everything is wholesome, is one-some, in one. Everything will flow. Democracy as defined, or as popularly defined in the Western world, they say government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But over the time, these lexicons, these definitions, has had many definitions inside the definition. Democracy is government by the majority, ruling over the minorities in votes, in choices, in electoral choices. Multicultural democracy or multi-ethnic society is an heterogeneous society that throw up a lot of questions upon democracy. Scholars and philosophers world over have had a lot of things to write about this, that democracy cannot really thrive well in a society that is not homogeneous. But over time, its application, the practical application of democracy and leadership, the style and way through which we are able to apply it well as a means of governance, has become the responsibility or the only solution to the problem that it goes with when it's being implemented in an heterogeneous society. Countries like South Africa, Mozambique, India, Pakistan, these are all countries that are multiplicity in ethnicity, tribes, and Nigeria inclusive, even Ghana. But Nigeria is so unique, where you have more than 200 and something ethnic group and more than 400 tribes in one enclave called a country. I refuse to use the word nation. Nigeria is a country of nations. So when you talk of national interest, of which interests? The nations of Yoruba interest, the nations of Hausa's interest, the nation of Fulani's interest. The country interests. Nigeria is a country of nations. The Ijaw nations, the Edo nations, the Efik nations, the Tiv nations, the Jikus nations, the Bagis nations, and all these nations agitate for their collective participation in the Nigeria state. Nigeria is a huge state of states in the Nigeria country. Our independence took cognizance of all this. That was why when independence was supposed to have been proclaimed under the Mafasi Constitution, the North felt they were not ready yet. Because their nation, the nation of the North, the outside nations, that a conglomerate of other in-between nations, felt they were not ready yet to participate in the political independence of the Nigeria country for 1960. That was why our independence was postponed with another 2 or 3 years.
What happened to converting our diversity?
That is what I am talking about. That is what brought about the zoning. Zoning is not become, if not because of political selfishness, zoning should not be supposed to be part of our constitution. Because in as much as we have now accepted to practice democracy in an heterogeneous society, we have not accepted that democracy is the only way for political representation in an heterogeneous society that ought not to have worked. If it is working in India, if it is working in Pakistan, it's working in South Africa, economically, politically, they are getting sound. What are they doing differently? How are they managing the diversity? And having discovered that the best way to manage this kind of diversity is equity and fairness in the polity. Equity and fairness here is not talking about the political zoning without political, within the political setting. 22 years after in this Fourth Republic, we are yet to incorporate zoning into our constitution. We are still talking about it as a gentleman agreement because of our individual selfish ambition. Do you know why?
I'm listening to you. Because
we have regions in this country that have numerical strengths. We have ethnic, yes, as far as democracy is by number, we have ethnic group in Nigeria that have the numerical strengths to always win, while the other smaller ethnic group always loses. So agitation will not stop. That's where their ambition, the way they consider their strengths, they always feel they need to have an ambition. But if you drop that strength for the collective interest of the country, they are taking cognizance of the fact that we are operating a multi-ethnic society, a diverse society with more than 400 tribes and 200 and something ethnic group, then you should drop down your so-called numerical strength and embrace equity, fairness. Whereby zoning, after this zone, after this region has provided, let it be the turn of this. If it's the turn of the South, you now micro-zone it within the South. In the history of our in this Fourth Republic, we have zoned it to the North. The Fourth Republic started with zoning to the South. We threw up Obasanjo. It was micro-zone again. Across, not minding the political divide, the party. We are talking about the polity now, not the political parties. Obasanjo took it from the South, micro-zone to Southwest. He picked the vice president from the North, micro-zone to Northeast. After their tenure, it was zone, turn of the North. Yar'Adua picked it. And the vice president was for the South. Yar'Adua for the Northwest. The vice president was for the South. Goodluck Jonathan. Micro-zone to South-South. Noto. With the demise of Yar'Adua after 2 years in office. There was a conflict. There was a clash between zoning as a non-constitutional interest, ambition of Goodluck Jonathan, and the constitutional provision, because zoning was not in the constitution. But the ambition of Goodluck, first of all, we follow the constitution to ensure that there was no lacuna in governance. And since then, nobody has thought it or deemed it fit to review the constitution to say, let us include zoning. That was the beginning of our political crisis that we are having today, where Goodluck had to throw his hat to the ring in 2011. When the North, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said it in Igbo Square, that this is a blatant cheat to the northern region. They are entitled to 8 years of political leadership of the country, Nigeria. Providence.
Ambition breach.
Exactly. Ambition of Goodluck Jonathan breached it in 2011. And we flew with it. In 2015, the same man wanted to repeat it. And that was the beginning of the issues in PDP that led to some people leaving and collaborating with forming the APC and all that. Okay. And we went to the north. Now it's about to come to the south again. If we have used APC change mantra to stabilize the mistake of Goodluck Jonathan, this is the right time to do the right thing again, to sustain the same zoning, to create a healthy political playing in the system, to stop all this unnecessary. You are talking of insecurity, banditry, insurrection, agitation, and what have you. They are all symptoms of wrong political footage we are having in the system. Right now, the national chairman of APC is saying that there is no zoning.
I was going to come to that. Why is it that political parties that are supposed to lead by example, they are putting and one at the back?
Suddenly, even if zoning was a gentleman agreement that is not written, we still there are countries that operate on written constitution. Those are countries. That is the strength of character. That is the strength of credibility and integrity. And the only region, the only microzone region or sub-region in Nigeria today that have suffered is the Southeast. But nobody wants to talk about it. If you talk of the issue of IPOB, you then know mega data militancy that was used as a small screen to drive the agenda directly. The men that that make people say, okay, let us allow Jonathan. After all, they are that region will be agitated. Do you need to go to arms for you to be recognized fairly, given the chance? This is not about competence, because every region in Nigeria today have competence and credibility. Every region has the merit, have people with merit to drive leadership in Nigeria.
Some people say that the fact that we have this federal character in our constitutions is an allusion to the fact that we want to deal fairly among ourselves, and thus this should also reflect in our political practices.
Federal character was basically designed to drive the administrative aspect of governance in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, it was never for elective positions. It's about appointments.
If it is intended to ensure,
then they should take it up. There should be personal amendments. Yeah, of course, it should be amended. The federal character should reflect in our polity. And it is high time. We continue. If when we talk of insecurity, go into historical, examine the issues of Boko Haram. You will still see the issues of pre-independence.
United Kingdom is one of the countries that is governed by unwritten laws,
of course,
much more than what they wrote and the rest of it.
Yes.
Here we have almost a whole booklet of laws and things of that nature. And again, we have political peculiarities that we should be able to maintain a strength of character that will enables us to balance how we practice among ourselves, because if there is anything Nigeria needs most today, it is to revibrate the bond of our national unity. How can we achieve this? Through our political power play.
Because, like the last speaker said, you don't expect strength of character from citizenry that are indisciplined. Unfortunately, this citizenry, among the citizenry, brings about leadership. No leader falls from up. Me and you, we are sitting down today. I don't know if Beneza is going to be the governor of his state tomorrow. You don't know if I'm going to be the governor of Edo State tomorrow. I'm a follower today. I might find myself in a position of leadership. If my strength of character is 0 today, what do you expect me to perform miracle when I get to the leadership position? So the 80% of Nigerian politicians across the political divide that are masquerading themselves around the polity of Nigeria today lack strength of character. You don't expect them. So even if you have somebody who have a semblance of that, how do you deal with a whole lot? You become a lone ranger, driving your strength of character or trying to use your strength of character to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And when you become a lone ranger, and democracy is like the strength of a broom, you come together of different paths, of different interests, different opinions, believing in same vision. So when you are a lone vision, nobody is believing in your vision. How will you translate your vision? Because they are supposed to be your mission. A vision without a mission is a totalizing mirage. It's an illusion. So unfortunately, unfortunately, you will continue to have, except we've all agreed that we should revisit equity and fairness in the polity. Forget about any other thing. I just told you now how we bridge it, how we undermined it in between 2009 and 2010 level. What did it lead to? Boko Haram. Let's be frank.
The breaching in 2011, the breaching in 2011, does it form a legitimate ground for another breaching?
It doesn't, but it's become a sad precedent. Those that want to always fester on create what is called satisficing, slack variables. They are looking for those slack variables to fester on. When the kind we are talking about today was one of the diaspora campaigner for Goodluck Jonathan in 2011. The question is, what went wrong? However way you want to look at it. He started his agitator for his own people. Whether wrong or in the approach is not what is the issue right now. You can see we are trying to tame the approach, but the issue is the root remains the root. Post 1967 stroke 1970 Civil War, Biafra War, as the Igbo politically be carried along, have they have that sense of belonging that, apart from Alex Ekweme that was vice president during Shagari regime, what political role, leadership position have they held? I'm not talking of being appointed as a minister or as a chief of army or whatever, president, or senate president. I'm talking of serious elective political position, because senate presidency is an election within.
Senate president is a serious elective position.
I'm not talking of, when I'm talking of providing leadership for Nigeria, senate presidency, you have to be a senator from your senatorial district. So it now matters how you lobby your colleagues within the microcosm of your house, of your National Assembly. We're talking of having somebody who will start say President XYZ with an Igbo. Yes, so this is an Igbo man, but a Nigerian is the president of Nigeria, a new Nigeria, driving the new course. That will be the beginning of a new Nigeria, where every region in Nigeria have a sense of belonging. Within the Igbo route, you look at the map of Biafra. You see other ethnic groups being carried along. So it's, even the regional blocks are not being carried along well. Not to not talk of the tribal interests within those regions. If you talk of South today, do you know how many tribes are in South?
Now let us talk about the paramount issue: ambition and national interest.
Yes.
2023.
I want you to rephrase it, Beneza. Ambition and the country's interest. I keep telling you, national interest, we have many nations.
Do you have national anthem?
Yeah?
Do you have national anthem?
Why is it not working?
Do you have national
we have a national item today. And
our character.
We have a national, let me explain to you.
Okay.
The Edo nation have their national item. The donations item.
But
we have read it in.
But
we have a country anthem. Yes. We are forcing this until we begin to act it. Why are we not acting the content of? Why are we not acting the content in our national anthem?
There is demands. There is demands that we should synchronize and synergize our diversity to produce needed national strength.
Yes.
But the fact that we are a nation is something we cannot rule out.
We are a nation of nations.
That is why we are a member of the United Nations Organization.
Mr.
We recognize that that's rostrum.
Yes, we are a nation. Yes, Nigeria as a country. We are a nation of nations. The Nigeria state of states.
We are not single in that decline.
Of course.
India is a nation of nations.
Of course.
Even America is a nation of nations.
That's why I'm telling you that the way and manner they be able to manage their diversity is because of having equity and fairness.
So let us set a goal of nationalism and sail into it by managing our character.
And the only way to manage the character is for everybody, followership and leadership, to begin to entrench the philosophy of fairness and equity. Be the change you want to see. Why will you do unto others what you don't want others to do unto you?
So what will you want to see? What
in 2023, yes. It will be my utmost desire and interest to see a Nigeria president of the Eastern region extraction.
Many people are saying
across the political divide. But whichever way it plays out, for the collective interest of the country, for the sustainable interest of Nigeria, for the future of this great country, we should continue. We should not stop. We should not destroy the country. Whichever way it plays out in 2023, I hope and I believe Nigeria will remain indivisible. But we should continue to remind ourselves that for a union to foster stronger, a union to be sustained, there must be sense of equity and interest. You cannot continue to hit a spot in a war thinking that it will not fall. At least you'll be giving it mark. Small, small. That mark may become a hole tomorrow. And that hole will become an outlet or a leeway for a lot of catastrophe to happen. We are hitting a particular spot in Nigeria. And we are hitting that spot, which is the Eastern region. Politically, they've been disadvantaged for too long. And we have refused, for our selfish ambitions have made us to undermine them. We always have reason to justify why we need to undermine them. And I'm not have a reason. Even Satan has reason for this action. But don't forget, it's just a question of time. 2023 is coming again. Everybody is now a presidential runner and running with 100 million in their kitty, or 40 million if it's PDP. Or the money, if we all agree that this is the turn of the South, gentlemanly, and within the South we agree that the Southwest has produced president, vice president. The South has produced president, vice president. It is the turn of the Southeast.
Now, with your entitlement to your right of opinion.
Yes.
With your entitlement to your right of opinion, yes. I'm going to quote a saying of one of the Igbo elder statesman, the Nigerian elder statesman of Igbo extract, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe.
Yes.
He said, "No one renders you inferior without your consent."
Yes.
It is either through your commission or your omissions. Taking that statement into consideration and knowing the pivotal roles the Igbo played pre and post-independence,
exactly,
as almost occupying every stratus of Nigerian officialdom, from the north to the west and the rest of it.
Yes.
Why did they lost it?
We lost it, the same thing issue.
I am asking you.
Yes. For me,
have they done enough to recover it?
They've done more than enough because the issue of
they lost it.
Yes.
And
the issue of independence.
We want to learn how to do the nation.
The issue of independence, post-independence, immediately after independence, all those things cumulated.
Yes. To
the crisis that led to civil war, because which we cannot. You have to take us hours to dissect what led to the Uzegu's coup of.
We don't even want to go there.
We don't want to go there. The Agui man, the man that was the head of state, the head of state.
Agui Rossi,
Nnamdi Azikiwe, you understand? There are a lot of conspiracies, and what led to the unitary system of government we are operating in the name of federalism today. Because it was Professor Ben Wambeze drafted the unitary constitution, the federal unitary constitution. All as a result of selfish interests we are still talking about, ethnic selfish interests. But all that led to civil war because the reprisal, the reaction to all that sense of nepotistic and clannish tendency led to the overthrow of Agui Rossi, and which again Dean Ikemba knowing felt was not right, and he revolted that he needed to go, and Gowon said no, the country has to be one forever, and after 3 years after war with Georgia, but after 1970 we all agree and let bygone be bygone. No victor, no vanquish. So when you want to look at the political trajectory of Nigeria today, if actually we are talking of a heel system, in quote, that Nigeria has been heel of the past, then we should be looking at it from 1970 as the Igbo be treated right post Biafra. That is the question politically.
Very well. So between ambition and
national interest will definitely override ambition.
National interest is supposed to override ambition.
It will, because if you allow ambition to drive, because by the time you
from your observation,
yes.
let me complete my question. From your observation,
yes,
looking at the deluge of presidential aspirants,
yes,
and looking at Nigerian politicians by their character and their practices, do you see them as people, Nigerian politicians, that is those one with ambitions, do you see them as people who can genuinely tame their ambition to give precedence to national interest?
When the chiefs are done, they don't have the capacity to even tame their ambition. The powers that be, made in Nigeria, owners of made in Nigeria, they will tame their ambition. That's how deep the country is. What is fostering Nigeria together is beyond the political shenanigans of these players that you are seeing. When the chiefs are down, the chiefs were down in 2015. It was about ambition and national interest, and good Lord Jonathan made the call.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Okay.
The chiefs were down in 1993. The military did what they did. Even when the Abacha, Nigeria is an interesting scenario. The future of Nigeria cannot be compromised for the ambition of one political juggernaut. Nigeria is so interested that no politician is bigger than Nigeria as a country. No matter how strong you think you are economically or politically, something will just happen because Nigeria is a God project.
I like that.
That is the truth. That is just the truth. But that does not mean, because God is a God of fairness and equities, that does not mean we should not continue to emphasize that for us to drive this for the next 100 years, this country must be built and driven among the 400 and something tribe and 200 and something ethnic group on equity and fairness. That is what will drive justice. You are complaining today. You are talking of a poor justice system, blah, 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 blah. These are all part of, because when there is no equity and fairness, indiscipline is setting. And a nation of indiscipline is a free-for-all nation. It's become an aberration for you to be disciplined in an indisciplined environment. It's a crime. How can you be lawful in a lawless environment? Because in a lawless environment, it's about survival. And for you to survive in that lawless environment, you want to be lawful, you will be killed. You won't survive, except you don't want to survive. So it's an aberration for you to be lawful in a lawless environment. And what drives lawlessness is where there is no equity and fairness.
Are we not...
You cannot be preaching peace and you are doing injustice. Think about that. Then Nigeria is the only country where, from religion to economy to politicians, across the major religion, Muslims and Christians, you go to mosque, imam will be telling you of peace. You go to church, cathedrals, and what have you, they are talking of peace. Nobody talks about justice.
Are we not over-dramatizing our tag of indiscipline? Are there no Nigerians? One will disagree with you and say, preponderantly, Nigerians are hardworking people,
yes,
resilient
yes,
people, dignified
yes,
people, respectable people who even occupy positions at the international level,
yes,
and the rest of it. Should we put condemnation on ourselves because of the recklessness of some few people?
It is not few, because the ones that are hardworking, that have exemplified themselves internationally, are the real few. Whenever they come here, what did they say? Kemi Adosu was here. An internationally a performing minister. How did you the indiscipline system corrupted our ways? Okonjo-Iweala was here. Should I continue to count? But they are outstanding. They are back to the Western world today. They are still outstanding in their respective field of endeavor. So our being indiscipline is being generalistic. I generalize a lot. It does not mean there are not exceptions to the rule. But because among the general, the much are the one that produces the leaders. Much of the followers are indisciplined, and democracy is by much, and much of the followers produce the leader. And when you produce an indisciplined leader, how is he going to direct discipline into the society? How is he going to provide direction? No amount of competence. If you can be hardworking, you can be competent. Who is more competent and hardworking than Boko Haram leaders? Who can ingeniously produce bombs? Who is more hardworking and competent and intelligent than Yahoo boys? Do you know what they are? They don't sleep. What is the definition of hard work? They are committed. They are so intelligent. They are so ingenious. Who is just how? So it doesn't add up. You can be as good as you want to be, but when there is no character, no credibility, and integrity, it's useless.
If you approach many Nigerians, they will speak just the way you are speaking now, and they will paint a very beautiful pictures of the kind of country they want to see and things of that nature. Are we working sublimely to and faithfully to produce?
That is why we say, how do you expect change when you don't want to be the change you want to see? Buhari is just a lone ranger. 80% of people surrounding him in the presidency does not key to his vision. They are key to their personal vision. They have their personal vision, which is their pocket, of being there. They have their personal ambition. If actually we are, APC is the ruling party. Now we're talking of delusion because of the indisciplined nature of the polity. Now the party want to make money from every Tom, Dick, and Harry. If you can bring 100 million, you should come and purchase form. Nobody, there is no criteria for purchasing form. After you purchase form, there will not be criteria to screen you. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? By the time you are screened, you become a rabid dog.
There is a glorious Nigerian nation begging for a place in all of us. That much the United Nations Secretary General talked about yesterday when he visited the president, yes, and things of that nature. In your opinion, what should we be doing to regenerate our values, recultivate our sense of discipline and strength of character?
It's a huge task on us.
What should we be doing?
Yeah, across it's going to be broken down into, we need a social discourse. It has to be broken down, classified into 3 aspects, political, economic, and social, all in a social discourse. You understand? Right now, I keep giving you figures and data and statistics. With the way we are going, the task is so huge on us to redirect our values. Our homes need to be redirected value-wise, where we are producing the children who will in future have the capacity to drive the potential that will make Nigeria a glorious nation. We have potential economically. But what quality of human capacity do we have to drive the economic potential we have? A lot of economic potential in mineral resources, natural resources, and what have you. But even in the high tech, but do you have the values? How can somebody think of using the brain that God has given to him, the ingenious nature of that brain, to drive a computer system instead of using it for the good and economic betterment of himself and the country? He or she wants to use it for Yahoo. So the only way is for us to have a true national social discourse right now. Right now, it's very ripe. Not political jamboree they call political conference. This is not about constitution. We have all the laws that can make Nigeria work.
Is it not too late in
no
the day
time,
that
no
the government...
No time is always too late.
Election is
the civil society group should collaborate. All of us should all come together. We need to discuss about the way forward, not about their political activities. If Nigeria, then we derive a template, a blueprint, which will now be submitted. Issue of social contracts need to be there.
So if you have one word to our politicians that are pandering their ambitions so aggressively towards 2023
they are not,
and the nation, what will you do?
They are not so aggressively. It's all about their game. They've watched the system. They've watched the populace. They know where we tend to. They are working on our psyche. They are not so desperate as you are seeing them. What is 100 million for a former governor to lose? You understand? So they are just working on all of us.
So what is your one word?
My one word to them is their ambition or none of their ambition, whatever they do, they should remember that post-2023 Nigeria must remain one.
Thank you very much.
The ambition must not undermine the existence of a Nigeria, the Nigeria of our dream.
Thank you very, very much. We have been talking to Comrade Haruna Brahimo, Director of Media and Publicity, Advocacy for Good Governance, West Africa. And that is where we're drawing the curtain today on nationalism and you. But don't change the channel, because here on LTV, we'll keep you busy throughout the day. And furthermore, don't allow your ambition to threaten the collective interest of the Nigerian nation. Till next week, when we come back to you on the platform of nationalism and you, we say goodbye.